Shanquella Robinson's case has haunted the public and drawn considerable media attention since the tragic events in October 2022. Her story, one of mystery, pain, and an unsettling search for justice, has left a lasting impact on many. She was a young woman full of life when she went on a vacation to Cabo San Lucas with a group of friends, a trip that should have been full of fun and relaxation. However, it ended with her untimely death under suspicious circumstances. The details that surfaced after her passing stirred an outpouring of outrage, questions, and calls for justice that only intensified over time. Now, Shanquella's family has taken a significant legal step to hold accountable those they believe are responsible. They recently filed a wrongful death lawsuit, aiming to finally achieve the justice that criminal investigations have so far failed to provide. This action is nothing short of a checkmate move in their relentless pursuit of justice for Shanquella, a strategic step that could have serious repercussions for the infamous Cabo 6, as it will finally force them to talk and face the Robinsons. In this video, we're breaking down how this lawsuit could be the game-changing move that finally puts the Cabo 6 in checkmate. Speaking of making chess moves, today's video is sponsored by Aura, a powerful tool that helps you stay one step ahead of scammers and protect your identity online. Ever get one of those strange text messages from USPS saying they have a package for you? Click this link to confirm. USPS never sends those types of messages. That's spam from someone who has targeted you. They likely got your information from a data broker or a data leak on the dark web. Do you know how much of your personal information is hanging out online for people who want to target you like this? I'm talking about your full name, phone number, home address, email address, information about your relatives, and more. And data brokers, which are companies that are in the business of making money from your personal details, are selling your information to scammers, just like the scammers who sent that USPS text message to you. I've gotten those messages too. That's why I turned to Aura. I've been using Aura to protect myself from identity theft online. These days, it's no longer a question of whether your information gets into the wrong hands. It's a matter of when, and when it does, it can turn your life upside down. When both my mom and husband had their identities stolen, it was a wake-up call for me. When I did a little digging on my own information, I was shocked at how much detail was out there. It was alarming. Aura reaches out to the data brokers that have my information, and it actively takes steps to have it removed by automatically sending opt-out requests to them on my behalf. Aura uncovered more than 18 data brokers that were actively selling my personal information and alerted me that one of my email addresses was found on the dark web. Cleaning up my information not only helps to reduce the amount of spam I get, but it protects me from hackers, like the ones sending that sneaky USPS text message, who could use this information to access my accounts and sensitive information. But that's not all. With Aura, I also enjoy a suite of features like antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more. It's a breeze to set up, and the cherry on top, I get all these perks bundled together at one price that doesn't break the bank. Aura brings it all together in one solution. If you sign up through my link right now at aura.com/sleuthylucy, Aura will give you a 2-week free trial. For a more direct route, you can simply click the link in the description below.
Case that's captured the nation and resulted in little to no answers for a grieving family. So today marks 2 years since Charlotte native Shanquella Robinson died while on a trip in Mexico. And now her family is suing the people who were on the trip and the State Department and the FBI.
Shanquella's family held a news conference today to announce the wrongful death suit.
I'm fed up with this stuff. I need justice for my child.
It's been 2 years to the day that 25-year-old Shanquella Robinson lost her life while on a trip with others in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, just a day after she arrived to the villa. In a new wrongful death suit, her mother alleges 6 others on the trip, called the Cabo 6, lied about her death and tried to cover up what really happened.
I don't want to be here. I didn't want to be here. If it was up to me, we would have had a thorough investigation and had answers for this family 2 years ago.
The Cabo 6 have maintained Shanquella hurt herself after getting drunk. But days after they all returned home without her, this video surfaced showing Shanquella naked being violently assaulted by another woman inside the villa where the group was staying.
Quella, can you at least fight back?
No. Others watched the fight, encouraging Quella to fight back. She says no before she's thrown to the ground and punched and kicked in the head and the back of the neck. She died the next day, and her autopsy conducted by Mexican authorities revealed she died from a severe spinal cord injury and neck trauma. However, when her body returned home, a second autopsy by the FBI contradicted that opinion. The family claims the FBI didn't take their case seriously, and a delay between autopsies led to the varying results.
The federal authorities have a duty to thoroughly and quickly investigate a claim.
Some of these people should have been already in jail. Long time ago. Long time ago. You got a video. If there had been anybody else, child, they would have been locked up.
Mexican authorities issued an arrest warrant for one of the Cabo 6, but to this day, that person has not been extradited. Robinson's attorney says the State Department dropped the ball.
The issue is that process has not even begun, and we're 2 years out from the incident.
Furthermore, the family wants accountability. They claim one of the Cabo 6 beat Shanquella, resulting in her death, and alleges the group conspired to cover it all up. Shanquella's death has caused a world of hurt for her family and those who knew and loved her. They're hopeful this lawsuit will grease the wheels of justice.
This was a choice. This wasn't a mistake y'all made. It was a choice. And when you make choices in life, there's a consequence behind every choice that you make. And it might take a long time, but God is not going to let you get by.
Shanquella was a successful 25-year-old ambitious entrepreneur from Charlotte, North Carolina, with a love for travel and new experiences. Her life appeared to be on an exciting path, and her close friends and family described her as compassionate, ambitious, and full of life. In October 2022, Shanquella embarked on a trip to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, with a group of people she trusted, ones she thought were her friends. This was a typical trip for Shanquella, who frequently traveled to explore new places. However, this journey would mark the last time her family would see her alive. Shortly after arriving, what was intended to be a fun vacation with friends turned into a nightmare, as tragic details of Shanquella's final hours began to emerge. Reports initially indicated that Shanquella had died from alcohol poisoning, a story her travel buddies told Mexican authorities and later repeated to Shanquella's family. According to these accounts, the group found her unresponsive, and by the time local medical personnel arrived, she could not be revived. However, her family's instincts told them that something was deeply wrong with the story they were hearing. They were devastated, and a profound sense of loss only grew as they learned more.
They was crying and say they never had a fight. They even sit here and say they was picking out what they was wearing to the funeral. They sit down here and we was talking about what colors we was gonna wear and what we was gonna do, and they sit here and say, pick out what they was wearing to the funeral.
As Shanquella's family was making plans for her funeral, they received bombshell news contradicting everything they'd been told by the so-called friends and the police report.
When they called me and the autopsy came back, it all made sense.
When the autopsy report arrived, it told a very different story. The medical examiner's report revealed that Shanquella had suffered serious injuries, including a broken neck and severe spinal damage. This finding contradicted the account of alcohol poisoning and raised serious questions about how she sustained such injuries. Adding to the mystery, a video surfaced online showing an altercation between Shanquella and another individual in her group, sparking public outrage and leading to a surge in calls for a thorough investigation. The events of that night, now publicly scrutinized and laden with inconsistencies, became a rallying point for those demanding justice for Shanquella. Her case also brought attention to the difficulties of navigating cross-border investigations, especially when the involved parties are American citizens traveling abroad. When Shanquella Robinson's tragic death came to light, the initial investigation by Mexican authorities faced scrutiny and criticism. Following her death, the so-called friends who traveled with Shanquella returned to the United States, leaving behind an account that raised immediate questions. According to them, Shanquella had suffered from alcohol poisoning, leading Mexican authorities to initially treat her case as a non-criminal incident. However, when Shanquella's autopsy report was completed, a very different narrative began to unfold, casting doubt on her friend's story and raising suspicions of foul play. The autopsy findings, revealing a broken neck and severe spinal cord injury contradicted any claims of alcohol poisoning. These physical injuries could not have been sustained from intoxication alone, and the abrupt and traumatic nature of her injuries prompted Mexican authorities to reclassify the incident as a femicide, which, under Mexican law, is a gender-based homicide. This legal reclassification brought a sense of urgency to the investigation, but also highlighted jurisdictional challenges between Mexican and U.S. authorities, especially as Shanquella's friends had already returned home. As these developments came to light, the case ignited a wave of public reaction. Social media became a crucial platform for spreading awareness about Shanquella's death, with posts, videos, and hashtags like #JusticeForShanquella trending across various platforms. The outrage was further fueled when a disturbing video circulated online showing a woman, allegedly a friend of Shanquella's, physically assaulting her in what appears to be a hotel room. In the footage, Shanquella does not defend herself, and a voice in the background can be heard encouraging the assault, which only intensified the public's demand for justice. This growing pressure from the public became impossible to ignore. Activists, community leaders, and prominent voices called for accountability, and the hashtag #JusticeForShanquella gained momentum as people worldwide showed solidarity with her family. Even celebrities and influential figures took to social media to express their support, urging authorities to pursue an investigation. This groundswell of public interest led to heightened scrutiny on the legal proceedings and the actions, or lack thereof, by both Mexican and U.S. officials. The U.S. government, under pressure to support a more robust investigation, began to show increased interest in Shanquella's case. The FBI, in response to mounting public concern, opened an investigation to assess the circumstances surrounding her death. However, due to the complexities of international law and the challenge of cross-border jurisdiction, the case encountered numerous delays. Despite this, the Robinson family, with the support of activists and the public, continued to push for answers, vowing to leave no stone unturned in their search for the truth. In the months following Shanquella Robinson's death, both Mexican and U.S. authorities faced considerable challenges in advancing the investigation. As the public continued to demand answers, Mexican officials reasserted their commitment to investigating her death under the reclassified status of femicide, which shifted the focus from a mere accident to a potential intentional act. Despite the urgency signaled by this reclassification, progress was hampered by logistical challenges, jurisdictional limitations, and the need for cooperation from U.S. agencies. These complications highlighted how difficult it can be to achieve justice in cases that span international boundaries. In 2023, the Mexican government formally requested assistance from the United States, seeking extradition of individuals believed to be involved in Shanquella's death. Extradition requests are a complex legal matter that requires stringent evidence and adherence to both countries' legal standards. While details about the suspects were not disclosed publicly, it became clear that the Mexican authorities were interested in pressing charges and ensuring those responsible faced justice. However, as of the most recent updates, no formal arrests have been made in the United States related to Shanquella's death. The FBI's involvement, while crucial, also faced limitations. The agency collected evidence, reviewed the video footage, and analyzed the autopsy reports, but faced hurdles in bringing the case to a swift resolution due to the cross-border nature of the incident. Additionally, as more details emerged, reports indicated that members of the travel group, now infamously known as the Cabo 6, were unwilling to cooperate with authorities, making it difficult to piece together a complete account of what happened on the night of Shanquella's death. These obstacles have slowed the pace of the investigation, further frustrating her family and the broader public. As the case has continued to develop, some potential witnesses and sources have come forward, either anonymously or through attorneys, hinting at internal tensions and conflicts within the group that went to Cabo. While these revelations have added layers to the case, they have not yet provided the concrete evidence required to lead to formal charges or arrests. Legal analysts speculate that unless a breakthrough occurs, such as additional witness cooperation or new forensic evidence, the investigation may remain at an impasse. In the face of these legal and investigatory challenges, Shanquella's family decided to take their fight for justice into their own hands. Recently, they filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the individuals involved in her trip to Cabo, marking a significant step in their pursuit of accountability. This lawsuit symbolizes not only the family's determination to find the truth, but also their attempt to hold those responsible accountable in a U.S. court. The filing of this lawsuit has rekindled public interest and brought renewed focus to Shanquella's case, highlighting her family's unrelenting dedication to uncovering what happened. This legal action underscores the family's determination to seek accountability, especially in light of the perceived stagnation in the criminal investigation. In their view, this lawsuit is not only a path to potential compensation, but more importantly, a way to push for the truth to be revealed and for responsibility to be assigned to those they believe played a role in Shanquella's death. The wrongful death lawsuit, filed in Mecklenburg County Superior Court in Charlotte, North Carolina, aims to address what the family sees as intentional harm or negligence that resulted in Shanquella's death. A wrongful death suit is a civil claim typically filed by the family or estate of the deceased, and it doesn't rely on a criminal conviction to move forward. This allows the Robinson family to pursue damages and potentially some degree of justice in a situation where criminal charges may still be delayed or even denied due to jurisdictional complications. The lawsuit's defendants include the infamous Cabo 6 who accompanied Shanquella on her trip to Mexico. The claim centers around allegations of physical assault, negligence, and conspiracy, which the family believes ultimately led to her death. Legal filings detail how Shanquella's friends not only misrepresented her cause of death as alcohol poisoning, but may also have concealed or fabricated details regarding the events that took place during their stay. In the lawsuit, the family outlines a narrative in which the actions, and possibly the inactions, of these individuals contributed directly to Shanquella's tragic fate. Central to their claim is the idea that Shanquella was a victim of premeditated harm and that her injuries, including the fatal spinal injuries revealed in her autopsy, are evidence of intentional actions that could have been prevented. By filing this wrongful death claim, the Robinson family is demanding that the defendants be held accountable for their involvement, whether through their direct actions or their failure to intervene and prevent further harm. In their suit, Shanquella's family presents multiple claims, each underscoring the belief that her death was not accidental. Among these claims are allegations of assault and battery, which stem from the video evidence showing an altercation in which Shanquella appears defenseless while a person in the group repeatedly strikes her. The family asserts that someone present could have intervened but chose not to, implicating them further in the events that led to her death.
She would never do no wrong to nobody. I don't say nobody had the heart to do her like that. Unfortunately, we know these people did not have any heart to do my child like that. And she didn't deserve to die like that, And you're going to take her away from her family, away from out the country to do her harm like that. And all of you sit back. Now, one of them didn't have no sense to stop it or try to help her. They're going to sit there and video it and look at it, and because they all had a part to do with it. They all played a part in her murder, and each and every one of them should be arrested because she was a good person. That's right. She never did nothing to hurt nobody.
Additionally, the family's legal team is pursuing claims of negligence. They argue that by not providing accurate information about the nature of Shanquella's condition, and by failing to get her timely medical assistance, the group displayed a reckless disregard for her safety. According to the lawsuit, this negligence wasn't just a failure to act, but part of a broader effort to conceal the truth. The lawsuit also hints at potential conspiracy among the defendants, alleging that they worked together to downplay the events leading to her death. The family's legal team has cited evidence from the autopsy report, eyewitness accounts, and statements from acquaintances who were present on the trip to support these claims. For a wrongful death lawsuit to succeed, Shanquella's family must establish a clear causal link between the defendant's actions and her death. In this case, the evidence includes both physical documentation, such as the autopsy reports, and social media video evidence that appears to capture an assault on Shanquella. The Mexican autopsy report is particularly significant, as it details the severe injuries she sustained, including a broken neck and spinal cord damage, indicating that her death was likely due to violent trauma rather than natural causes. In contrast, the FBI conducted a second autopsy upon Shanquella's return to the United States. However, their findings fell short of providing a conclusive cause of death, largely because her body had already been embalmed, a process that alters tissue and complicates certain forensic assessments. This difference between the two autopsy findings adds complexity to the case, but the Mexican report remains a critical piece of evidence, offering medical insight into the trauma Shanquella endured before her death. Shanquella's family also intends to rely on witness statements that may further incriminate the defendants by providing insight into the group's behavior and the dynamics that played out during their trip. This evidence, according to the family's legal team, is intended to underscore the severity of negligence and possibly even malice among those involved. The family believes that the combined strength of the autopsy findings, the video footage, and additional testimonies may substantiate their case and lead to accountability, at least in civil court. In a recent interview, her mother, Salamandra Robinson, stated that the family would never stop fighting until they saw justice for their daughter. For them, this legal action offers a way to shine a light on a case that has, at times, felt marginalized in the U.S. justice system, as jurisdictional issues have repeatedly hindered criminal proceedings. Through this lawsuit, the family hopes to keep Shanquella's story alive and to exert pressure on both U.S. and Mexican authorities to expedite their investigations and release the case files.
In our lawsuit, we allege we have presented the FBI with a public records request in order to be able to assess what was done on the case. And their response was, we can get back to you in 5 years, which obviously would be an even more significant delay, even more significant erosion of evidence in the case, memories of witnesses, etc. So it's an unacceptable response.
Legal experts have pointed out that civil lawsuits can sometimes be instrumental in motivating criminal cases, as evidence brought forward in civil trials can sometimes lead to renewed interest or additional resources for criminal prosecution. While the family knows a civil judgment won't directly result in a criminal conviction, they hope the lawsuit can lead to new revelations that could benefit a potential criminal case in the future. The outcomes of this wrongful death lawsuit could take various forms, depending on the strength of the evidence, the cooperation of witnesses, and the court's willingness to navigate the international complexities of the case. A few potential outcomes include settlement, where the defendants agree to pay damages to Shanquella's family without admitting guilt. This could provide the family with some level of closure and potentially fund future legal actions. Civil trial. If the case goes to trial, a judge or jury will evaluate the evidence and testimony presented by both sides. If the court rules in favor of Shanquella's family, they could receive a substantial financial award and, equally importantly, a legal validation of the family's claims against the defendants. Impact on criminal proceedings. If substantial evidence emerges during the civil proceedings, it could prompt renewed attention from criminal investigators, potentially leading to charges. This is especially relevant in cases involving new witness testimonies or additional physical evidence. While a settlement is a possible outcome in civil cases, often allowing defendants to avoid admitting guilt, this lawsuit is unlikely to end quietly. Shanquella's family is not simply seeking financial compensation. They are seeking answers and accountability. This means they're likely to pursue a full trial rather than accept a settlement that doesn't include full transparency and responsibility from each of the defendants. The civil procedure in a wrongful death case gives Shanquella's family powerful tools to uncover the truth, making this lawsuit a strategic checkmate move against the Cabo Six. Here's how. One of the most critical phases of a civil case is the discovery process, during which both sides gather evidence, conduct depositions, and obtain sworn testimonies from those involved. In this case, discovery means each of the Cabo Six will be legally required to sit for depositions. Essentially, they will have to tell their story under oath. Unlike a criminal case, where defendants can invoke the Fifth Amendment to avoid self-incrimination, a civil case holds them accountable for what they say, and any refusal to answer can be held against them in court. Depositions during this phase will require the Cabo Six to provide detailed accounts of what happened, where they were, and what they witnessed or participated in on the night of Shanquella's death. Any inconsistencies or attempts to dodge questions will strengthen the case against them, An outright refusal to cooperate could result in court sanctions or further legal consequences. If any of the Cabo Six refuse to answer during depositions or attempt to evade questioning, the court could interpret this silence as damaging to their defense. Such refusals could lead to what's known as adverse inference, allowing the court to assume that their silence implies they have something to hide. In other words, the civil court could interpret non-cooperation as a sign of culpability, giving Shanquella's family an advantage in proving their claims. The consequences for refusing to talk are significant. Should the defendants choose not to participate fully in discovery or depositions, they could face fines, sanctions, or even a default judgment in favor of Shanquella's family. A default judgment means that the court would automatically rule in the family's favor, holding the defendants accountable without a full trial. This pressure to testify could corner the Cabo Six into providing the full truth, or facing serious legal repercussions if they choose not to. Also, through these depositions, Shanquella's family will not only gain the answers they have long been seeking, but could also lay the groundwork for future criminal charges. Should a criminal case eventually develop after the lawsuit, any testimony obtained from these depositions could be used to support the prosecution. By securing these statements now, Shanquella's family ensures that if a criminal trial does arise, they'll already have the defendants' testimonies on record. Should any of the Cabo Six choose not to take the stand in a future criminal case, their depositions will speak for them, providing critical evidence that may not have been accessible had the family proceeded with a criminal case first. In civil court, this legal maneuvering places Shanquella's family in a position of power, giving them a checkmate move, one that will force the Cabo Six to talk or suffer the legal consequences. Regardless of the outcome, the wrongful death lawsuit represents an important step for the Robinson family, who are determined to pursue every available avenue to find justice for their daughter. The implications of this case may also extend beyond Shanquella's story, influencing future cases involving Americans who face similar tragedies abroad. In a recent public statement, the family's legal team emphasized their dedication to seeing this lawsuit through to its conclusion. They acknowledged the difficulties of pursuing legal action across borders and expressed appreciation for the public's ongoing support, which has kept Shanquella's case in the spotlight. They also noted that this lawsuit serves as a reminder that Shanquella's life and death should not be forgotten, and that accountability, even if delayed, is crucial to ensuring justice. Shanquella's family, through their attorneys, has expressed profound gratitude for the support and solidarity shown by the public. Their legal team has pledged to continue the fight for Shanquella with every resource at their disposal, underscoring the importance of bringing those involved to justice, no matter how long it takes. The wrongful death lawsuit has reignited public interest in the case, especially among supporters who have consistently advocated for Shanquella's family. Many view the lawsuit as a courageous step by the family, a bold move to take justice into their own hands amid a challenging and often slow-moving legal system. Social media has once again become a rallying ground for supporters, with the hashtag Justice for Shanquella resurfacing and sparking conversations around international justice, legal responsibility, and the importance of pursuing the truth. The family's supporters hope that the lawsuit will shed new light on Shanquella's case, perhaps even prompting new evidence to emerge. Public sentiment remains largely in favor of the Robinson family's pursuit, with many expressing their hope that this civil action will ultimately lead to the answers that have eluded them so far. Legal experts view the Robinson family's lawsuit as a strategic and essential move in their quest for justice. Filed on October 28, 2024, the wrongful death lawsuit comes after 2 years of frustration and limited progress in the criminal investigation. According to legal analysts, civil lawsuits are often instrumental when criminal cases hit jurisdictional roadblocks, especially in international situations where extradition and evidence sharing become complex. Shanquella's family, like many in similar situations, finds themselves turning to civil courts to unearth critical truths they might never have obtained otherwise. In civil court, the burden of proof differs from criminal cases. Instead of proving guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, the standard in civil cases requires only a preponderance of the evidence, meaning it must be more likely than not that the defendant's actions led to Shanquella's death. This lower threshold could increase the family's chances of obtaining a favorable judgment. By presenting evidence that demonstrates negligence, malice, or misconduct, they have a strong foundation for their case, Legal experts note that even if criminal charges remain stalled, the family's case could still succeed in civil court, giving them a measure of justice for Shanquella's untimely death. The significance of civil cases as a pathway to justice is especially relevant now, highlighted by recent examples like the civil lawsuits against Sean Diddy Combs, which many believe have laid the groundwork for his pending federal case. In Combs' case, civil litigation has created avenues for accountability and transparency, even as his criminal case remains shrouded in secrecy and plagued by delays. This parallel illustrates how civil cases can place substantial public and legal pressure on defendants, leading to consequences even without criminal convictions. For Shanquella's family, this lawsuit not only seeks financial restitution, but also serves as a powerful tool to bring to light the facts and hopefully prompt further action from criminal authorities. What do you think about this recent news? What began as a trip to Mexico with her closest companions ended in tragedy, betrayal, and unthinkable loss. Shanquella's so-called friends, people she trusted, including a supposed best friend who even took the lead in misleading her family, now stand as defendants in her family's wrongful death lawsuit. For Shanquella's loved ones, the betrayal is as painful as the loss itself. The people she called friends, those she trusted and welcomed into her life, are now accused of complicity in the tragic events leading to her death. As many have put it, with friends like these, who needs enemies? In this lawsuit, the Robinson family has named 6 individuals who were on the trip with Shanquella in Cabo San Lucas. These individuals are Dejanay Jackson, Winter Donovan, Alyssa Hyatt, Khalil Cook, Malik Dyer, and Nazir Wiggins. Each of them faces accusations ranging from physical assault to negligence, and they will be required to provide sworn testimony detailing their accounts of what transpired. Khalil Cook, who was considered Shanquella's best friend, allegedly led the misinformation campaign following her death, initially informing her family that she had succumbed to alcohol poisoning. For Shanquella's family, these falsehoods and betrayals have made the pain of their loss even deeper. In addition to naming her travel companions, the lawsuit calls out relevant agencies, including Mexican authorities, the U.S. Department of Justice, and the FBI. These agencies have been included in part due to the Mexican government's existing femicide charge against Dejanay Jackson, who is wanted in Mexico for her alleged role in Shanquella's death. The femicide charge underscores the serious nature of her alleged involvement and has led Mexican authorities to pursue extradition. By naming these agencies, Shanquella's family is urging them to take actionable steps to facilitate Dejanay's extradition to Mexico, where she would face the femicide charges that have remained unresolved for 2 years. With the lower burden of proof in civil court, Shanquella's family may finally have the opportunity to hold these individuals legally accountable for their role in her tragic death. It isn't just about money. It's about holding Shanquella's so-called friends accountable and securing the truth her family deserves. The family's hope is that this lawsuit will not only result in a civil judgment, but also inspire renewed attention and resources for a potential criminal case. As these proceedings continue, they may reveal crucial new details, corroborate existing evidence, and add to the public record, potentially encouraging authorities to revisit criminal charges. For Shanquella's family, justice is about more than a verdict. It's about honoring her life, demanding accountability, and ensuring that others understand the importance of true friendship, loyalty, and compassion. They are determined to prevent Shanquella's story from fading away, ensuring her legacy will be one of resilience, remembrance, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Shanquella Robinson's case stands as a reminder of the strength of a family's love and determination to seek truth in the face of unimaginable betrayal. Through their unwavering commitment to justice, Shanquella's family has shown that they will not rest until those responsible are held accountable. The civil suit may be only one chapter, but it is an essential one that could finally bring her family the answers they deserve and remind us all of the importance of standing with victims and their families in their fight for truth and justice. Let's continue the conversation down in the comments section below. As always, I'll meet you there. Justice for Shanquella.